coaching call, Tech and Tools, we wanted to have a good recap of our year so far, of everything that we've been doing, refreshing your tools for success and what that looks like. So me and Kristen are going to collaborate on some, and we're also going to go into detail. We want to make this an interactive session because we have a little spreadsheet, a little doc sheet going that we're going to send out to everybody that you can use for your tools, tricks and tips and tools for you of things that you may or may not know that's out there. Things that you may have learned, things that you may have not learned, things that we forget that we have learned, and what it looks like. So I'm going to let Kristen take it away and do the lender and the marketing section. And then I am going to do the training and the local events.
Awesome. Do you want me to share my screen?
You sure can. Absolutely.
That might make it a little easier for everybody.
Yeah. And we can write in it together too. Yes.
All right. All right. Can everybody see that? Awesome. Okay. Yes. I'm switching screens so I can't see anybody. All right. So today we're going to go over, like Corrina said, we're kind of refreshing what's in our toolbox. So I went through over the last 2 days, kind of a series of things that have stood out to me to be able to differentiate ourselves in the market and have additional tools in our toolbox. So Olya is going to actually do a deep dive of the UWM SafeCheck soft credit AUS refund that they came out with last week. So if you haven't watched the fast break from last week, that's definitely a huge asset, as they basically are going to refund the soft credit pull that we do through their system for conventional files. Conventional files, you can actually run DU and LP in their system, and then they do off of the soft credit pull, and then they actually will pull the hard credit and they refund us the fee. I think it's $25 for the soft credit. FHA and VA, they are working on fine tuning. You cannot actually run AUS with it, and then they are protecting the clients against trigger leads by doing this. So it's a huge asset that Matt has rolled out. So if you haven't watched the videos on that, and Olya is going to go over that on Thursday, Corrina too.
Yeah. And just as we go, we're going to make this interactive and collab on it. Everybody's familiar with trigger leads at every convention, and everyone going forward this year, 2024. It's probably the number one topic. Whether the company buys leads or not, they're even pissed off at the trigger leads. So some of the companies who buy the trigger leads are pissed off at the trigger leads. So sitting with someone last Thursday and Friday, and then talking with a few others, pretty much the average consumer is getting between 18 and 58 calls per a credit pull, which is insane. Insane.
Yes, it is crazy. UWM Elite, if you are not familiar with your pro rankings, you definitely want to get with Olya and make sure you are on track to keep your pro rankings up so you have access to their additional products, perks. It also helps the company with our quarter statuses and the amount of partner points and rankings we get. And, we're able to take our agents to UWM, things like that. So, and it's super easy to get. Even if you don't submit a loan per se to UWM, you still have the ability to achieve elite status by either visiting UWM, downloading some of their PDF flyers. There's literally a list of things you can do, and Olya will call you. So if Olya calls you, she's calling you for a reason. Talk time, things like that. So she's calling you to tell you something. Normally it is about your pro elite. She's giving you an update on products, anything like that. So make sure you are answering her calls and using her as a tool in your toolbox.
Yep. Backstory is the company granted you guys points and awards as a company for the past 2 years, being the number one broker in Virginia, all loan officers did when they made the change, they put 60% of that on the individual loan officer. Now the company's just, 30% of that at the end of the quarter. So looks like we only have one little thing to do this week. Me and Ollie are doing. We should be fine. Thank you, Jeff, for the Heloc. There's something else that came in that made us go up to the diamond status without having to worry about it. But again, each quarter, I cannot get there alone anymore. We had the benefit of getting there alone by Bright Processing, by you guys submitting loans past 2 years. Now we cannot get there alone as a company. We have to have your participation. So I beg you and ask you to please do that. It benefits you because then you have access to all their programs. And second as well is you will see a huge benefit at the end of the quarter for company-wise, because I can't remember, everybody's going to get so many points and CYPs and our free lock extensions. Those will all come in handy as a company granted award. So we are going to get those this quarter as well too. So yay.
And for the free lock extension, you guys can actually use that to your advantage. You can lock your loan for 5 less days. I do it on a lot of mine because sometimes it's, it's not a lot, but it does help with if you lock it for 25 days and it's a 30-day contract, you have that 5 days built in. So sometimes it helps the pricing a little bit.
Are there limitations how many times we can use the lock extension per client? I mean, obviously it's not to be abused, but
yeah, so it's per client, right, Corrina?
Sure.
You just can only use it once per client.
Per client. But if you have 5 loans in the pipeline, if you were to use it on each, that's okay. There's no limitation on. Okay. I don't foresee needing to use it often. I'm just curious.
Yeah. And Dawn, thank you for saying that because we don't use it often as much, probably a little bit this summer, more so with the non-cookie cutter loans, but not typically. But yes, it's on every free extensions on all the purchases. And I think as we make diamond, we'll get free extensions on both, right? I think refi and purchases, but only one per customer. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
All right. Non-QM. Last week was a heavy non-QM week for us. We had Angel Oak on and Deep Haven. So Andre and what's her name? June. Yep. So they had really good seminars. Non-QM is starting to become more, used more frequently lately, especially with creative underwriting and trying to make sure that we are giving all borrowers options to purchase. I actually have been doing some research on Champions funding. They actually do a DSCR. Angel Oak and Deep Haven will limitate if you don't own a primary with purchasing for a DSCR, whereas Champions, as long as you have had investment experience in the last 3 years, I think it is, they allow you to do a DSCR note ratios. So just a little tidbit. Champions does have the same program that Change Wholesale did, the My Community. It's like the My Community. I have not successfully put one through, but it is a tool. I don't think Change Wholesale is offering the My Community at this time. I know they are still doing loans, but I'm not sure what the status of that is. HELOCs. Jeff, I'm going to call on you because I think you were the first one to do one through UWM. So do you mind sharing just a little bit about that? Because I personally have not done one. I gave you the full reins of that and exploring and figuring out how that's done. And then I'll touch on the 5-day HELOC with RIMEN and the Spring EQ HELOC.
Yeah, so in my instance, we had just done the call-in with RIMEN at the time. So I was trying to go through them. My customer was pulling a 649. I think I told Alexa in the email last week, 652, but it was a 649. So they're going through everything with RIMEN, and then they pulled the credit and they came out with like a 605. So they killed it. So I kind of told the customer I had heard that nobody had really had any luck with UWM, and this was late on a Friday. So I called the customer. She was going to wait, or her and her husband were going to wait till they could raise the credit score. So I said, okay. And then I called her back like 2 hours later. It was just bothering me. I said, let me make one more phone call. So over the weekend, I double checked UWM's guidelines, looked closer at their 20-year with the 3-year redraw, because they would do a 640 and above. So first thing on Monday, I got on the phone with Oya and asked her about the credit score. Would they pull? What do you think would happen? She said, well, we'll just use the score that you pulled on your hard pull. So go ahead and turn everything in and get it done. So with a little help from Keith on the processing, to Sean as well, it took about 9 days to get this clear to close, and it worked out. Customer was happy.
That's
Way to
awesome.
And just so you guys know, before Kristen goes into it, I think we've had our biggest month for HELOCs. I want to say we've closed 12 or 14 this month. So that's like our biggest month for HELOCs for everybody. So Steve Carpenter in Tennessee closed his first one with a UWM 2 as well, I believe. So we've had a couple RIMEN, Sony. Did you close your first one too? Or are you having?
I haven't yet, but I'm working on closing one soon. I think it was just disclosed, but I was in the same situation as Jeff as well with RIMEN. And what I learned is with RIMEN, they're using the FICO 9 score model versus we're using the tri-merge score model. So I think that's where the difference is. Like if we can have the client check their FICO 9 score model before we send them to RIMEN, because for some reason, that scoring is coming in a lot lower. So I'm actually working with UWM now on one of my HELOCs for that same reason. It was like 649.
And on mine, if I could add in, the problem I was running into, my customers were only looking to pull out $25,000, which really limits us. It was really RIMEN and UWM were the only two that go that low. But UWM does it. At least you have to pull out the whole 25,000 if you go that low, and then the closing costs will get taken out of that for those that haven't done the HELOC yet.
And believe it or not, for that 9-day process, and this is why I said we've had the most, over 10 HELOCs close this month. We've been preaching it all year, but there are 100 scenarios like Sony's and Jeff's out there right now, even between 25 and 60 grand. I think, I forget who it is, Melissa, someone has a $500,000 HELOC right now going on, but in that process, it's taken the credit unions anywhere from 30 to 90 days. And most of them that go through bank rate or some online for HELOC, they're all straying them to like what you consider a trigger lead or a buy lead. And they're usually ending up in the same process as a RIMEN process like us. So you may want to ask them, have they been turned down for a HELOC too as well if they come to you? Because there's a lot of similar scenarios out there. So I'm glad to hear you guys. Way to go, Jeff and Sony.
Thank you.
Hey, Jeff, quick question. Is the rates with UWM competitive with RIMEN?
I would say so, yeah, because I was UWM closed them at a 9.375 with a 649 score. So I thought it was pretty good. Some of the other ones are kicking up over 10.
So between 11 and 14 right now for RIMEN, I think, and Spring EQ. So the biggest things for RIMEN is obviously it's all automated. Everything has to be done online. Your income has to be verified online. Your appraisal value has to come through online. So basically if, and you are turned down for the FICO 9, based on that scoring model, which something, so like me and Sony had talked about it too. And Jeff and I had briefly talked about it as well, but I've been trying to find out, and I'm actually going to ask my credit guy too, like, how do we know what factors into that model and why are they coming up differently? But I think it has something to do with the collection accounts from what I have found online. And unfortunately, there's really nothing we can do with RIMEN to change, to learn more about that or change more about that, because it is solely basically an online system that they use. So it's very limited on what they have to offer. So RIMEN's very, super simple to do as long as the value is met and the debt to income is good. HELOCs at RIMEN, you cannot pay off debt to qualify. Spring EQ, you can. I'm not sure about UWM, if you can pay off debts to qualify or not. I don't know if anybody knows that answer, if you want to chime in.
UWM didn't ask about debts. They just asked about the cash out.
UWM, you can.
For improvements.
sorry. Yeah,
Okay.
you can pay off debts to qualify.
Okay. So just something to keep in mind. And then I'm trying to think, who else do we have? Spring EQ. Both of them have fixed options. Austin over at Spring EQ is super helpful. If you do have questions, call him. Olya obviously has a ton of insight on them as well. RIMEN's kind of more your cookie cutter, easy 1, 2, 3, in and out Heloc.
Dawn, you have a question?
I was just going to share that I've had a great success with Tower Credit Union. I know we don't necessarily partner with them or get compensated, but they've been incredibly helpful in the past in helping me save some deals. So on their equity lines, they'll go up to 100% on a primary residence, second home up to 90%. And the pricing is pretty competitive. And the great thing with the second home is if your client qualifies without the rental income, they can put as little as 10% down. You could do the first at a 60 or 70% LTV to help alleviate some of those LLPAs, and then do a second to bridge the gap to enable them to do 10% down. So that's been a great save for me, especially with the change with all the pricing hits now at second homes.
Great. That's on our list here for the 80-10, but that is great to know because, I mean, not saying we don't care about getting paid on the second, but we really don't. We want to be in position just to know what's out there, and you're going to reciprocate in some way or another once you start doing business with our peers. So yeah. Kim?
Dawn made a statement and made me think of something. I know UWM and I think RIMEN too. I don't know about Spring EQ. All of them are 80% on the primary, correct?
Spring EQ will go higher. They go up to 90, I believe. Don't quote me on primary, but I believe they go up to 90. There is a pricing adjustment for it though.
All right. Let's
yeah.
right.
Bridge
Move
loans. Bridge loans. We went over last week with Ken, so we won't spend a lot of time on that. There's good calculators that all was sent out. Your renovation loans, you want to make sure you are brushing up on AFR's guidelines. We're looking more at EPM for your 203Ks, your conventional home styles, and VA renovations. So EPM is one really good to look at. AFR, their process has been a little bit slower. I don't know if anybody has done anything with them recently. But kind of do some inside research, ask questions. DPA programs. We have AFR, Orion, EPM, a mortgage boutique. Who am I missing? UWM's 1% down program. Windsor's program. And they all essentially, in a nutshell, offer the same thing. It just is dependent on how it's structured and how we are paid based on borrower paid compensation and the repayable portion. So EPM and AFR are 100% gift. There's no repay option. Windsor, Orion, and a mortgage boutique, they all have the repayable second.
Yep. DTI, all that. We won't go into because we'll be here all day on DPAs, but I will share with you in the next 6 months, you want to be a loan officer to submit one loan to Windsor if you're in Virginia. Windsor, you heard this first. So if you're not on the call, you're listening in the playback, or if you didn't listen at all, you won't know until 6 months from now. But Windsor is going to be most likely the very first lender to offer VHDA, every product VHDA has to offer. Dan didn't want it to be one product, so they are waiting to roll it out. I said by the end of first quarter. He said, no, Corrina, I want to be done by the end of the year. So I talked to VHDA on Thursday, purposely went down to the convention, straight off the plane, talked to Dan and Gigi, And he said, I'm in talks. I've got it under wraps. We're going to probably have two options. One is the bank, I think it's Blue Ridge or whatever the bank is, and then Windsor. He said he's pretty confident they're going to have this done. He wants it by the end of the year, but by end of first quarter, because VHDA is losing business because they don't have enough lenders right now. They have all the programs, and that's what he wants it to be. So you heard it first. We will be screaming it from the rooftop when we're eligible, and all the retail lenders are going to be pissed off like a mofo, which, woohoo! So Corrina's been advocating for over 10 years. So
will we each have to take the VHDA training certificates, or will that fall back on Windsor's side since they're the actual provider?
I think it's going to fall back on Windsor side, but
Okay.
I absolutely am going to promote Train the Trainer for VHDA. And then there's going to be other programs that we aren't familiar with. But so eventually they'll probably roll out one, then two, but we will by the end of 2024 be able to offer probably the whole complex of VHDA. So that brings up a whole lot for Corrina in recruiting, Corrina in VHDA, Corrina in advocating for 10 years. So I'm truly excited about that. So we are very close to that. So that you heard it first here. Okay.
Can I make the first phone call to Shanita?
Last but not least, number 9.
Corrina, do you want to touch on the 80/10 from Symmetry? I know you've researched it.
Yes. So we have closed our first one. If not our second one, did we do 1 or 2? I'd have to ask Emily. You want to just make sure that if you do this, you absolutely study. This is with every program, every lender. You should be getting with the lender. Don't rely on us to be the all be all. You want to learn the product, the program straight from the source's mouth, not us, even though we may be doing them. Because just with the Helocs, just with the bridges, they are tailored to that specific lender. So in this market, depending on what it is, it could be very beneficial. Me and Mo were talking about last week, comparing conventional to FHA. There's a lot more that could probably be benefit to go FHA than conventional, possibly. Then they're going to have enough equity in 6 to 18 months to turn them conventional. There may be a good buyer for conventional that was going to put down 20% to avoid MI. You may be able to throw that 10% in there and still not have MI. Save your client 10%. They put their money towards something else, maybe even a second home or maybe even investment property. So again, here's where you come in as the educational advocate. So definitely take a look at that. It's definitely worth it. All right, go ahead, Kristen. Marketing.
All right, marketing, we'll kind of breeze through this a little bit quicker. Utilize the CMS marketing portal. There is a ton of marketing material in there, from programs, presentations, anything you can think of that's in there. It's yours to use. You can co-brand with agents. It's pretty simple to just navigate within there. You should have login information for that. If you do not see a flyer that you want in there, please request through the marketing request form that's on the CMS website. Give us at least 48 hours prior to you needing this. We do ask for the time because obviously sometimes we do have to pull different information, things like that. Use your UWM Marketing 360. It has flyers, everything that UWM offers. There is a flyer, social media, things like that. Whatever you do, the biggest thing is make sure your NMLS number's on anything that you're posting. They do have a full schedule in there kind of to map out what you should be posting, when you can post it, and how you can post it. Biggest thing is, Dawn and I actually talked about this the other day. Watch what other people are posting. Look on Pinterest, look on Instagram, look on Facebook, watch some YouTubers. A lot of people are doing YouTube shorts, TikTok, LinkedIn. Use them as examples, swipe and adapt it, use it and throw it in ChatGPT or Jasper and have them rewrite it for you. It's good to get your mind thinking like, oh, okay, I can do this, and flip it and, market it to yourself. Then that way you can use it to make a request in the portal too if you need additional assistance. End of year CD letters. We'll probably do this before the end of the year. Corrina too is do a full class on that. I'm assuming the end of year CDs, send that out for tax season. And then forget-me-not letters with the forget-me-not
Let,
flower.
let me interrupt there. Even if you don't have a lot of loans closed this year and you want to partner with agents, is it worth it for you to ask the real estate agent, let's partner together and I have an assistant, whether it's you, whether you ask Jessica in our office, whether whatever you need help doing, and this agent lets you have their database to send out letters for them and CDs, let's get at it. Because here's the key is all these people that the agents are closing business with or have is an automatic refi opportunity for you in 6 months from now. So,
yep. Mortgage coach. There are some trainings on that we have done in the past. I think our Pennsylvania brokers have done one for us. We can resend that out. There are some free trials out there. It's a good way to teach you how to be the expert in our field. All in the marketing drive in CMS's folder on the CMS website. You have your fonts that you should be using, formats, colors, logos, the logo variations, everything like that. Each lender has a marketing subcategory normally, and they all have flyers, they all have social posts, everything like that you can either put your information in or swipe and adapt it. There will be new marketing flyers getting put in the portal within the next probably 2 weeks. We're going through a deep dive of that. I've pulled a couple of stuff. I know a couple people have asked for different flyers. Dawn and I have actually done some chatting on that as well. So if you guys have ideas, send it in so that way we can continue to build that up. My Credit Guy, they have awesome marketing materials that you can co-brand. I was trying to see if Kristen was on here because I saw she just posted one yesterday. Oh, she is. Kristen. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I couldn't use when you log into your portal with them, I couldn't get them to work there, but Jesse sent me the link that I can send out with all of their flyers that you can co-brand. It basically just opens in Canva. So if you want to change the font, the logo, or the color scheme, whatever, you can do that. And that's basically what I did is I just took their flyer and then I just updated it to my font and colors. So super easy. They had a couple of really good ones. But yeah, I'll send that link out because like I said, the one in my actual login portal didn't work, but the link he sent me was helpful.
Awesome. Thank you. So yeah, so that's a kind of quick dump of marketing. I think that we touched on everything that we had outlined so far. So yeah, so if you have any insights, anything you're looking to see, also another big thing, Brianna, myself, if you see emails coming from us asking you guys for information, it's because we're trying to feature you on the CMS website. So or on the CMS Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. So we're asking you for feedback so we can start promoting everybody as a team. We love to feature everybody, reviews, insights, tips, tricks, whatever it is, expert tips. We want to feature everybody, but if you guys aren't feeding us the information, then, we are limited to what we can actually use. So if you are getting stuff from Brianna or myself, please be sure to respond to us. We are asking for a reason.
yeah, we're not going to put you on there unless you okay us, because then we don't want somebody fussing back of why you used this picture, why you didn't use this picture, what you said. Or, yeah, so we want to be in position to for you to share what it is that you want posted. If you post stuff, we will reshare too. So you just let us know.
Make sure you're tagging us in the when you tag us in the post itself or on the image, we're able to repost.
Yep.
For Instagram specifically, we can't repost it sometimes unless we're tagged. So just make sure you're tagging. You're always welcome to share CMS's stuff. If you see something that you like that we're posting and you want it rebranded to you, you're more than welcome to submit a marketing request and go from there.
All right, so I'm going to move fast and furious onto training. Tons of stuff we've been doing all year. We're going to continue to do in 2024. We are going to blow the roof off this mother in 2024. I'm going to tell you right now, doors are opening. 3 coaching calls a week, all opportunities. Kristen, if you want to type while I talk, all opportunities to be, and I'm looking sideways because the screen is smaller and guys, I can't see. So all opportunities to learn. It doesn't matter if you listen to 1, listen to 3, chime in because we're going to tell you where it is and what it is and playbacks. All in training, we had it for brand new loan officers coming into CMS and brand new newbies, period. We've opened that up. Alexa sends it out at 3 on Tuesdays. We've opened it up that anybody can attend. It may be worth it. It may just be some topic that you don't know that we even do. So please don't disregard that or be in position that you don't want to listen to it. We will send it back out to you too as well. Corrina's becoming a pro at AI, Chat GPT. It's learning what I did, how to talk about me, how to talk in my language, what to do. I'm excited. I've been posting some really good stuff. I've also been reformatting my emails that aren't all typos. So look out. You'll see some better stuff from me. Get to know it, get familiar with it, and people are going to think you're an expert. Arrive Library, if you don't have access to it, Deshaun can give you access to it. Email him and ask him for the Arrive Library. He'll probably kill me for everybody asking right now at one time, 40 people, but ask him for the Arrive Library if you don't have it. There is something in there you don't know. We are still getting to know Arrive, but everybody we onboard and everything that we do, we are using it way more to its potential than most, but we are also going to be using it even more to its potential. Google Suites. If you need some training on that, let me know. We want to do some more training on that. We trained on the inbox, we trained on videos, we trained on calendars. We are going to do another training next week on Canva. We trained on iPhone shortcut scanning to notes. I've used more being in between both offices of using the scanner on my phone than I have ever before. So the shortcuts that we can learn is what also the processors are learning to use with your people if they don't know how to send these documents in or whatnot. So it's great for you to learn some of the shortcuts too as well. Branding assets, piggyback on what Kristen said, we have all kinds in the drive. UWM Success Tracks, yay. Vicky and Viddy, I was so excited, made my whole vacation to see you guys there at UWM with 6 agents. That was freaking phenomenal. And then next week we have 5 processors going. Well, 3 processors and 2 loan officers. So we'll have 5 people in 1 week next week representing CMS. So excited about that. We have unlimited potential to get you guys to Success Track. It is really becoming popular for agents. So here's what I'm going to tell you. Don't make an agent upset or be pissed off that, or you be upset that your agent went with somebody else to UWM, or an agent that you've courted got invited to go with somebody else, because it is becoming a popular thing and people are seeing, and they want to go see the #1 lender in the world. And they want to know that you're part of it. They want to know how you do it, why you do it. And everybody comes back very excited and they do a great job. Training wise, MGIC, Radian, and Enact all have free training, all have training on every part of read and appraisal, self-employment, anything else. The #1 class, if you go to anything at UWM, hard to get into now, but you would want to get into it, is the self-employment class. MGIC just this morning released branded information on their sites and flyers for for Spanish. So you want to definitely take a look at MGIC's free trainings. I send it out every single month. Don't discount what they do, because I'm going to tell you, they have it's been a source for me for 25 years. Their training, some are recorded, some are live. You want to be in position that you could also share with agents some of their training, social media, other things that they do. These are things that you could share with your business partners. HVE lookups and send values to listing agents, buyers agents, listing agents, and refinances. You should be going on every single deal, whether it's a purchase or a refi, looking up the value on HVE on UWM. It does give you great tools. It gives you a great interactive map as well. It gives you a very good presentation to send to everybody in position or have a conversation with agents or buyers on refinances. So you want to take a look at the HBE on UWM. Arrive notes and business contacts. I put that under training because you want to look at the Arrive library, but the more information as we add processors to our system, we're going to be plug and playing people into each individual position in the next 6 months. As much notes, there is not too much for any. You put in Arrive and make sure you're putting in the business contacts. Once you put in the business contacts, they will be there forever. So keep putting them in and we'll have them. Going on to local.
One real quick thing to add. If there's any training topics that you guys are interested in actually hearing more about, or if it's something that you know, has been on your mind and you'd like to see training on, please email me so that we can incorporate it. Your feedback means more than anything to us because we want to be sharing ideas and having experts in the industry that you guys want to see as well. So please give us feedback. Without you guys speaking up, we don't necessarily know what you want to see. So otherwise we're just using, you know, what we all have put together on the training side to give back to you guys for educational purposes.
And what's most recently asked about, or what's most recently relevant in our market?
Yes.
Local events. I want you guys' feedback here. Realtor associations, training, home and garden shows, realtor training at UWM, school sporting events, any local chapter events, chamber events. And every chamber has where if you look up who their grand opening is, going to someone's grand opening, they will remember you. They will pass off your information to as well. B&I groups, local networking meetings, farmers markets, fall bazaars, festivals. What other events, community events do you guys, can you name off the top of your head? We should be 50 deep on these. Me and Kristen were trying to go through them with everything else we had in our head. Any other events that anybody's registered for or want to participate in? We've got schools on here. If you're not getting out in the community, you're not telling people what you do.
Volunteering in general.
Yeah, there you go. I'll tell you one people that pass my pens out is the hospitals. I have my pens at the hospitals. So hospitals it sounds crazy to network, but I go to the hospitals when I take my mom, pass out my pens, and they're always there. Restaurants, local networking at restaurants, locally owned businesses, small businesses, anybody that you can network with, classes. So Kristen, I read that book. I'm almost done with it. Oh shit, I'm gonna write down. But Kristen and Brianna gave me a book to read while I was on vacation. So one of the books I read was Great CEOs Are Lazy. That's a really good book. And then for our ladies out there, it was the Superwoman book you gave me, Becoming Superwoman. Yeah. And she talked about, she goes to events to meet people. And she looks up this class. If you go to Meetup is one, they have all kinds of one, but it was like coursehorse.com or something like that. But you got Meetup or coursehorse.com. I haven't even gone there yet, but I was like, where they have these one-off odd things that you can do. So any type of meetup like that, paint night, different things. We have a setup to hold 20 people to 25 people in the Virginia Beach office, 50 to 75 in the Fredericksburg office. So anywhere that we can have an event and host it for someone, we are absolutely willing to do. So think about the things that you can do to get outside in the community and what else that looks like. I'm part of the advisory board for the Career Technical School at Spotsylvania County. Anthony Campbell's going to go this Thursday on my behalf because I can't attend because of the real estate conference. I just went to a funeral on Saturday, and one of the girls was like, don't you teach at Spotsylvania School? And I was like, no, I'm not a teacher. And she's like, well, I see you at the advisory council. I said, no, I own the mortgage. Oh, she said, you're part of the committee. And I said, yes. But I've been as relevant now there for the past year and a half of trying to get my name out there, get familiar so they see my face. So we do externships, they call them, with the kids. Which reminds me, Kristen, I got to talk to you about one of the ones for marketing for you guys. But so again, anything that we can do, we're looking for interns, we're looking for externs. Those things we do put out there. We still have our coffee scholarship that you can promote, career opportunity funds for enthusiastic entrepreneurs, for people to get into the mortgage industry. So these are all things that CMS gives back and promotes. We want to do Habitat for Humanity again this year. So we're looking at that. We're looking at a few more other sponsorships and volunteer things that we are going to do this year for 2024. So make yourself your own community list, what that looks like for you to get involved. And this is how people are going to know you. So I know we're a little bit over time for today, but we're going to send this list out to everybody. So that way you have it with a recorded call, keep it as your own, add some stuff to it, anything that we can help. It is our job to do so. Any questions? No questions? All right, everybody have a great day.